Welcome to the Retirement Planning Show, your source for financial strategies to help you retire with confidence. Featuring Chip Coughlin of Retirement Income Analysts in Syracuse, New York. Chip is a registered representative, and securities are offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratus Wealth Partners, Ltd. Retirement Income Analysts and Stratus Wealth Partners are separate entities from LPL Financial. And now, here are your co-hosts, Matt Halloran and Chip Coughlin.
Hello and welcome to episode number 9 with Chip Coughlin. Today we're going to talk about financial goals, and Chip's going to really break down how important financial goals are for people, and then he's going to walk through how you can actually set them. So Chip, thank you very much for joining us again today.
Glad to be here, Matt.
So let's talk about these financial goals. As a financial advisor, I know you do a lot of stuff with goals. Tell us kind of from a high level where you're at with this.
Everyone has financial goals, or they should have financial goals, but they have goals in many other areas. They might have educational goals, they might have family goals, but financial goals should be in there as well. And I really think it's important to take some time and to put some goals together, short-term and long-term goals, and review them so that you can stay on track. Because a little time spent creating some goals can really pay dividends in the future.
So let's talk about how you have your clients write down those goals, both short-term and long-term.
Okay, the first thing we do is we start with short-term goals. And these are goals with a 1 to 2 year time frame. And I'm asking them what they want to accomplish financially, but I also ask them what they want to accomplish in other areas of their life, because we're trying to mix these together. So we're not just drilling down on the financial side, but we want to improve their life and their quality of life, and we want to give them a sense of achievement. We look at the 1 to 2 year time frame. We look at the financial goals. It might be to add to their emergency fund. It might be to upsize their college fund for their children. It might be after a calculation, hey, I need to put more money aside, for my vacation club or my Christmas club or something like that doesn't really knock my budget out of whack if I have to go to get those dollars from another source. And then we shift it to the longer term goals. And these might be retirement or college. And, we talk a lot about retirement planning, and I tell everybody begin with the end in mind. So it takes a little bit of a calculation to determine how much money you need to have at retirement. You could take your current budget, you could run a projection, add inflation to it, so that you get an idea of roughly what neighborhood you need to be in terms of how much cash you need in your retirement accounts so that you can live the retirement that you want. The goal planning is really important because it's kind of a contract, and if you will, that you have with yourself, and you're using these goals in a framework so that you can live your life financially and be successful. And success means something different to everyone, but having financial goals and achieving them. And when I see my clients achieve their goals, financially speaking, I can tell you it just lights them up. They are so excited once they do that, and it really motivates them to dig a little deeper in the process. We're seeing right away the short-term goals. Okay, I need to save a little bit more. I need to design my Christmas club account. I need a vacation club so I can take a guilt-free vacation. And once they do that and they see that it works, okay, they want to jump in with both feet. Because it's not something that they teach you in college. It's not something they teach you in high school. It's something that you've got to either learn on your own or work with somebody to get the theme of what we're trying to accomplish.
Now, you're talking about writing these goals down, Chip. Where do they write them down? Should they be in a place that's in front of them on a regular basis? Do you have copies of us? Help us understand that, please.
Okay. First off, we want them to write them down. So if we commit these goals to paper, they have more permanence and they have a higher degree of probability of achieving these goals if they're written down. Secondly, we want them to revisit these goals and review them on a very often basis. Some of my clients have written their financial goals and their personal goals on a piece of paper. They laminate it and they hang it in their shower. So every day they get up, they've got their goals, And it really gives them the context from which they build their life, because they know that if they've got physical goals, like I want to run a marathon, how many miles do I have to do this week? But right next to that is, okay, I need to save this much money each month so that I can fund my retirement to its fullest extent, or fund my child's college account so that when he goes to college, it's not stressful on the family. So we want them to write the goals down. They have to be achievable, they have to be believable, and they have to have a time frame, because an open-ended goal will always remain an open-ended goal.
Sure.
If you said, I want to do something, that's a lot different than saying, I will do something. And there's a lot of people that want out there, but the ones that will really are the achievers. And we want them to get a sense of accomplishment, and the feeling of that sense of accomplishment, as I said a minute ago, is dramatic. Once they achieve the short-term goals, it really adds something to their long-term goals, so they can really get on with it and say, this is how I'm going to put my life together. And I will tell you, once you buy into the goal planning, it's going to affect many areas in your life, because this will help you start to make proper decisions on financial decisions. Do I buy a new car this year because I want it, or do I look at my car and say, when will I need a new car? Everybody wants a new car, but how many people need a new car? Or I'm going to take a trip to the Bahamas. I want to go to the Bahamas, but I just need to take a vacation. And we call it, in the vacation sense, as I said earlier, we call it the guilt-free vacation. And we plan for it over the course of the year, and it's achievable. And I'll tell you, planning a vacation is a really exciting thing, because you're reliving it in your mind over and over. But when you go on vacation and you know you've achieved it, you've saved the money, and you're ready to go, and you're free to have a great time without the vacation cost hangover that a lot of people have.
Sure. Well, what's next? So I've written down these goals, and you know, I've got short-term and long-term, but then what do we do with them, Chip?
Well, we have to prioritize those goals, because some are immediate. They could be short-term immediate goals, or they could be long-term goals. And let's think long-term for just a second. We had someone in the office yesterday, and they've got a child going to college, and they're trying to figure out the best way to send their child to college. They've saved some money. They're a new client, but they haven't saved enough. And we always say a small amount of money over a long period of time gives you an explosion of value. So they came to me a little late in the game, but that was okay. But we talked about the parents could take out a loan, but I cautioned them about that, because you can take a loan for college, but you can't take a loan for retirement. So in that sense, sending their child to college, and I believe college is a great place for all kids, and it's a great investment parents make in their children, but we had to put the retirement goal on top of the college goal. So the thing was, we made the priority the retirement goal, and from that, we then moved down to saving for college and what could we really accomplish in doing that. So prioritizing the goals is very important, because again, it's giving you a roadmap. You're telling me, by prioritizing them, what's important to you, and we want to help you achieve the most important goals you have. And I'll tell you, it's not just one goal. We ask clients to put down many goals, okay, so that they have a lot of things that they want to accomplish, and we know we're going to accomplish quite a few of those. The ones we don't accomplish it in a short term would stay on the list, and the long-term goals, they would stay on the goal sheet for quite a while. So by prioritizing them, you're telling me what's important to you, and then we get together and we do a little planning, because planning is the key, to see what it will take to achieve those goals. And that kind of flows into the next point, is determine how much saving or investment it will take to accomplish each goal. And that's where the help of a competent advisor like myself would help you delineate exactly what it takes to achieve the goal. And many times it's not as costly as it is in your mind, because people are looking at the goal in its entirety and they say, how do I get from A to B? And what they're missing is the little steps along the way. So we want to break that down into bite-sized pieces to make it affordable and show them those results. And usually it's a nice buy-in. And as I said, once we break it down, it can be very achievable.
When you're talking about planning, one of the kind of dirty words for non-financial services people is a budget. So how do you help people budget, Chip, so that they can see those baby steps to achieve the goal without these things being just so horrifically overwhelming? Because you look at some of these numbers that I know you've talked to clients about, whether that's, saving for your kids' college, saving for your retirement, saving for that vacation home. And some of those are pretty big numbers. How do you use that budget and get people to buy in?
Okay, well, the budget is what you're spending every day. And it's showing me what you value by how you're spending your money. So perhaps if you want to make a dramatic change for the future, you'll have to reprioritize your budget. But the budget is very important because it is the backbone of the financial decision-making process. So we'll take a budget and we'll look at where they're spending their money right now. And we ask people to do a 3-month budget, to go back 3 months, tell me where you spent your money, and do a projection. What are you spending on healthcare? What are you spending on food and clothing and mortgage payment and taxes and things like that? Because we want to see where the money's going, and if there's anything that we can change to help them achieve a greater result. Many times people come to us and the statement they say is, I don't know where all my money goes, but it's gone at the end of every month. And I say, well, let's have a budget. Let's look at your spending. And we tell everybody they should save first and spend second. And what I mean by that is if you have a savings goal, and it could be in your 401k or 403b, it could be in your personal savings account, it could be in a 529 plan for college. Let's take that off the top. Okay, right when you get your paycheck, whatever that number is, let's take that off the top. And then you've earned the right, once you've done that, to spend everything that's left. And so we want you to essentially pay yourself first. Because when we talk to people, I ask them, who do they work for? And initially they say, oh, I work for the power company, or I work for the phone company, or I work for the hospital, and things like that. And then I ask them again, a little slower, who do you work for? And many times they finally get the message. They work for themselves and they work for their family. I'm not asking them where they work. I'm asking them who they work for. And when they understand who they work for, their family and themselves, the budget takes on new meaning because that's their money and they have to master it. They have to be the master of their universe, so to speak, financially. And I want them to prioritize even within their budget. Okay, what's important and what's not so important. And, we've seen areas in budgets where people could economize with eating out. We've seen it with vacations, of course. We've seen it with non-essential, expensive clothing, things like that they could make slight changes to that would help their budget on a go-forward basis. If we see where they're spending their money, we can make suggestions so that they can reallocate that asset and put it towards the future.
How often do we need to review this, though, Chip? I mean, so, we're talking about all of this good stuff here, but out of sight, out of mind. I mean, you said maybe,
Yes.
Laminating them and then putting in the shower, but, how often should they be personally reviewing these? And then how often should they be reviewing it with you?
Their budget goals to be center at some point of their life that they see them every day. And I want them to tell me what those goals are. I want them to share them with their family so that there's a buy-in on multiple levels. But I want them to see those goals. But when they come to me initially, we want them to come in every quarter. And I want to gauge their progress. I want to see if they've had the buy-in on their end so that they're committed to these goals. And I'll tell you, you don't get the emotional buy-in till they've had a win. And once they have a win, they've accomplished a goal. It could be a very short-term goal, boosting up their emergency fund or saving for the vacation or the Christmas club. Once they see that and they buy in, then it becomes very real. Hey, and the feeling is, hey, I can do this. Okay, this is working for me. And it's living life with a purpose rather than just letting the wind blow you through your life financially. So we want them to buy in. So we want them to come in quarterly. And, when they come in for the quarterly review, we're reviewing not only their investments, but the progress they're making towards each goal. All right? And by having someone like myself that they're accountable to for these goals, it helps them. And, it's not like cramming for a test in college where 3 hours before the test you open a book and you try to go through it. If you've had good financial behavior over the previous 3 months, it's going to show up. Because you can't, 15 minutes before you come in to see me, achieve all your goals. It's an ongoing process. And we talk about that because people do run into problems from time to time. They have an emergency expense. They've got a sick relative. They've had their car die, and things like that would eat into those budgeting goals. But in the absence of those, we need progress. And then we look at it in a bigger picture. Once a year, we're going to do a net worth statement on our clients. So when that is completed, we can tell the client, hey, here's where you were last year, here's where you are today. And when it comes to your net worth, you should never take a year off. All right? Your net worth should increase every single year. And it can increase by adding assets and saving more money, putting money into the retirement plan. But your net worth can also increase by paying down debt, okay? Eliminating the car loan, taking the car loan payment and making it a payment into an IRA or addition to your 401k. So we want to quantify that and show them good financial behaviors. And it's very interesting because when the clients buy in, you can tell. And they're thinking all the time. And again, I said, do you go to expensive restaurants on a regular basis? Are you buying clothes you don't need because you do like to shop? And people like nice clothes. I'm not against that. But you have to put a value on those things. And is it better to have nice clothes today or have a secure retirement? Is it better to have that new car today or to put more money into your child's college fund? So we want them to make conscious decisions. We break it down into bite-sized pieces, and they can accomplish those goals. But we review quarterly. We do a net worth statement at the end of each year so that they know where they are.
All right, closing thoughts on financial goals. So if you could distill all of this and just really get everybody to get motivated to do these things, what would be the best way to do it?
Write your goals down. They have to be measurable. They also have to be achievable but challenging, okay? If you're saving $100 a month, for example, and you raise it to $110, that's a 10% increase, but I don't think you're going to feel it. So you might want to say, hey, I'm going to raise that to $150. It's challenging. It is achievable, and you must believe that you can do it. You can achieve that goal. And again, achieving the goal, it's not just going out to eat less. It's a mindset, and we want them to have the mindset that they are going to succeed. And I see that in my practice all the time. We have some physicians that drive very inexpensive cars because they're funding their college education funds, they're maxing out their retirement, and they realize that I have to get from my garage to the hospital. And the speed limit is whatever it is. So spending a lot of money to take that short trip in a very expensive car probably is not the way to go.
Right.
So it's nice to see that they've looked at those, they've put a value on that, and they've made the right steps. And I do the same thing. I mean, I could give you examples in my life where I've stopped buying a more expensive car in favor of a used car because I know I've got to get from here to there, and I don't want to pay for the depreciation and things like that. People are forgetting that. And right now, as an aside, I just saw some research that there's so many cars coming off lease right now that the used car market is depressed. So there's great values out there on used cars. And I don't mean to do a commercial for car dealers, but I do pick on the car dealers because to pay the sticker price on an expensive car, to have it go down in value, is definitely not the best investment you could make. And over time, you'd find out that that's actually kind of a poor investment, because if you want to get from your home to your office, do you want to drive first class, or do you want to drive business class, or do you want to drive coach, and they'll all get you there. Okay? But it's in the future. Do you want to retire first class, business class, or coach? And our clients want to retire first class. And I just saw a great statistic that said that the American worker is about $6.5 trillion underfunded in the retirement plans. That's trillion with a T. Wow. And where does that money come from? People have to save more. And having the savings goal, having the retirement goal is really going to help. To sum it up, the goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be challenging, and you have to really have a sense of achievement. And I think that gives everybody a chance to really get in there and be proud of what they're doing and really live a life on purpose rather than letting it happen to you.
Fantastic. And with that, thank you for your brain today, Chip.
All right. Glad to be with you.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos Wealth Partners and Retirement Income Analysts LLC are separate entities from LPL Financial. Content in this material is for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly.